The first fertility thing was actually in 1790, and the first cloning of an animal was actually in 1820. And the first cloning of a person was actually in 1920, where they cloned JFK or Nixon. They tried to twist it all around and say that the first fertility thing was actually in 1820 and the first cloning of a sheep was in 1920. But that wasn't true. So, just twisting around the facts a bit. So, and that's what JFK and Nixon would actually try and do. So he first came into existence as clones basically sometime around 1920. And then by 1940 him and 30 of his other clones were wreaking havoc upon the planet. Anyway, and lying about when the first cloning experiment was. So, but most people in Germany and most other people would know that Dolly actually came into existence or whatever in 1820. So, anyway, and I think we actually did do some cloning in after we did the sheep. We actually did try and clone a person actually in 1918 something or other. Anyway, 1850 or so. So anyway, they just tried to change all the facts around, to make it look like there wasn't 30 JFK clones running around or Nixon people running around. So, and that's when they tried to take over the White House stuff. So anyway, I guess JFK or Nixon only trusted himself. So anyway, he had lots of himself running around. So that's when that actually started. And then by 1940 or so, he was very much a psychopathic, crazy guy that had his own little private army of clones. And then eventually by 1968, one of his clones was shot and he blamed everything on him. And then still stayed in existence, as basically older Nixon. Basically with a voice change and facelift. Anyway, trying to run the government past 1968. So, and was still very much psychopathic and crazy. And eventually he would die sometime around 19 something or other. Anyway, so that's basically what happened with that. And then, everyone else would have to pick up the pieces of all this craziness. Because eventually the cloning experiment stopped and even Nixon had to die. So, anyway, a lot of people wanted him dead a long time before that. Mostly the Chinese and, also, like, they wanted John McCain and everybody else. Like, Anyway, basically, yeah. So, and I think John McCain and Chuck Yeager had actually stolen a jet, and basically were flying or whatever. One of them had a pilot's license, the other one didn't. And they had bombed a town. And then basically they both said that the other guy had pressed the button and not knowing that we knew exactly who had pressed the button because I think there's something about the controls or something. You could tell which way the switches were or who activated the bombs or something like that. So anyway, so we knew that it was John McCain that actually dropped the bombs. And he was shot down. Anyway, but Chuck Yeager was actually flying that jet or something like that. So, anyway, they had both been captured, though, and stuff like that, or something. Anyway, yeah, so lots of stuff, and basically all that of craziness would become afterwards as they ran around, and Nixon was basically just killing people and saying, oh, it wasn't me, and doing all that, and saying, how could it be good old JFK when he's over there? In another state over there. We have photographs of that. And realistically, there were 30 of them. And he was just lying about clones and even trying to remove, like, twins from being known about. Anyway, whatever. I don't care. But that's what was going on in the past. And that's that's what happened. So, anyway, yeah, private little army of clones. Crazy psychopaths.